Hello and welcome back. My background may look a little bit different this week. I am testing something out, so bear with me as I am experimenting with different setups. Let me know if you prefer this setup more. This week, I wanted to go through my alocasia collection. I've been growing them for maybe just over a year now, so they are still fairly new genus in my collection, but they've been quite fun to grow. I've been finding a bit of success with them. I have been learning which ones are a little bit easier to grow and which ones are a little bit trickier, which kinds I prefer growing, and such like that. So I wanted to kind of go through them and share with you what I have. I also recently got a new one, and I'll probably show that one to you at the end. I'm going to try to go in the order in which I acquired them roughly. I don't remember the exact dates for some of these, but I at least know the first one and which ones were acquired a little bit later. So let's go through those now. My very first alocasia is actually a hybrid, and it was a seedling size when I saw it. It was in my friend's collection. It just looked so cute and sparkly. At the time, for me, alocasias were not something I was looking for. I've heard that they were very difficult to grow, and so I was very hesitant, but she assured me that this one would have been a great alocasia to start with. And I just fell in love with it, and it has to be one of my favorites right now. And it is the Alocasia regionula crossed with the ninja. So basically, the Alocasia black velvet crossed with the Alocasia ninja. And this is what it's looking like today. It was so tiny when I first got it, and I'm just surprised to see how much it has grown and that they could get this large. I have the Alocasia black velvet, and it has been a much slower grower for me considering, you know, where this is today. And yeah, definitely a great plant to start with. I am curious what the ninja looks like in person. I heard that it's a little bit more rounder shaped, where this one's a little bit um, elongated, similar to the black velvet. And I've heard that the ninja's a little bit more like cardboard textured. This one does have a little bit more of a cardboard, like thicker texture than my black velvet. So I do find it is a little bit more forgiving. And I do find it to be a very easy alocasia to grow. I think it's two plants in here, and I have been trying to grow some corms so I could give those away because I don't find these ones to be very common. I don't know where my friend got this, but it is honestly one of my favorites right now. For comparison's sake, I'm just gonna grab the Alocasia Black Velvet. I did get it around the same time, but maybe a few months afterwards. This is what my Black Velvet looks like. It is a lot smaller, but you can sort of see how this could be the parent of this other plant here. Let me just grab it again. So this would be the Regunula Black Velvet. This is the Regunula crossed with the Ninja. So similar, but different. You can also sort of see like this one has like a little bit of a border on the outside, where this one's mostly just silvery on the outside. But yeah, this one has been a little bit trickier to grow than this one. I have gotten it to size up a little bit. I think I bought it like with a leaf this tiny. It was very young, like just sprouted corn. So it is really cool to kind of see it size up over time. I just wish it would kind of size up a little bit faster like my other one did, but it has created many corms, and I'm enjoying sort of propagating from corm and seeing how those sprout. But my goal this year is to get this one to size up a lot more because I have seen the more mature plants for these and they look beautiful. I'm enjoying these cute little ones here, don't get me wrong. Adorable plant, but I want to see it fuller and lush because this one looks just so pretty. I love that little silver um, lining down the leaf there. So yeah, we'll see how this one goes. Another alocasia that I got last year is the Alocasia Silver Dragon. I believe it's Alocasia baginda Silver Dragon. So this is what mine looks like right now. I think I bought it with 2 or 3 leaves last year. It was a little bit more full at one point, but I think due to some overwatering, it you can see a little bit of yellowing from edema there. But yeah, I think from overwatering, I may have lost a few leaves, but it is still doing pretty well given that this is just one large corm. I think this one is just so pretty. I've always gone between this and the dragon scale, determining like which one I prefer more because I don't necessarily need to have all of them, but they look so close that I'm like, which one would I want in my collection? And I do tend to like a lot of silvery looking plants. So yeah, I'm enjoying this one. Very easy to grow, produces so many corms. I don't know how many of them you can see in there, but I have one there, 2, 3. I think there might be another 4th one down there somewhere. And yeah, very easy to grow. I enjoy it. I think it's very striking, very pretty alocasia. And yeah, I don't really miss having the dragon scale. It is a very pretty one, but I find that this texture too, like it's more leathery. I find that the dragon scale, which is mostly green, it's not this texture. It's a maybe a little bit of a harder sort of feel where this feels a little bit leathery, kind of rubbery sort of feeling. So I'm a bit into plants where like texture, variation of colors, veining are a little bit more appealing. So if it's not that high contrast kind of look, maybe it won't be in my collection as much. But yeah, this is the silver dragon. Very easy, pretty common, easy to find plant, but I think it's just very rewarding. Around this time that I got this plant, I also purchased an Alocasia dragon moon. I will show you what it looks like. It is a hybrid. When I got this, it was very tiny. It had 2 tiny leaves and it has grown to this. I don't know if you can guess what the hybrid might be of. Because I couldn't guess initially outside of maybe, I don't know if you can see the mellow, Alocasia mellow, but it is the cross of the Alocasia mellow and this silver dragon here. So I don't own like a very mature mellow, so I can't really properly compare that, but I can at least show you that, you know, this is one of the parents. This one, I don't know how, again, my friend acquired this, but it is very like fun to grow. I think it is between this and my silver dragon, of course. I think they're my 2 most silvery alocasias, and I'm really excited. I'm excited for this one to mature even more because I still don't really know like what the shape of these leaves will look more like, if it will be more like the silver dragon here, or if it's going to be more like the shape of the Alocasia mellow. When I look online, I don't really see many mature versions of this plant. So it's sort of more of an experiment. Exciting to see what it will look like, but it is a very pretty silvery looking alocasia. So I'm very excited to watch this one grow. And I will have to say it is pretty easy to grow. This one's pretty thirsty, and I think it deserves a little bit of an up pot. It's pretty rooty, but yeah, that is the Alocasia Dragon Moon. The next alocasia that I have here is my Alocasia sinuata. And this is what it's looking like today. I am so excited to have this leaf here. When I initially got it, it was a single leaf and everything just yellowed, and I ended up with just the corm for months. And then I finally started growing some new leaves on it, which was great. But then I had this growing. It was either in my cabinet for some time, and then when it got a little bit taller, then I was thinking, oh, let me take it out of the cabinet and give it some natural sunlight. And then I started to see like sun bleaching on the leaves. I don't know how well it still shows. Not as exaggerated as it used to look. And so I took it away from that window and I moved it into my smaller cabinet where it will get a little bit better humidity, but not as such bright light. So from my big cabinet to the windowsill to my small cabinet. And then it grew this large leaf. And look at that veining. I also just love how glossy it is. And that was one of the biggest reasons why I wanted this plant. I just saw a few pictures online or some other people growing it, and I was like, this is a beautiful alocasia. And my understanding is that there are not many of these in the wild, and I think it's mostly grown in, in our homes, like cultivation. So it's kind of cool to have like a piece of something like that in our homes. I don't like that, they may be going extinct. I don't know if there's anything that we can do to sort of help with that. These have already been just through propagation being sold like that. So I know that I'm not poaching from the wild by growing it from corm when someone else is growing it from corm in their home. And I would assume that the original source is not necessarily from poaching. So I would assume not at this point. That is just what the reality is for this one. But yeah, I think it's just a very beautiful alocasia. Another fun one that I want to share with you is my Alocasia heterophylla dragon's breath. I got this one as a pretty juvenile plant, and I did have 3 leaves at one point, but this one's a little bit trickier. I don't know if I'm just not fertilizing it enough, so I added some more fertilizer in here. Its water needs seem to be a little bit different too. I find it's a little bit thirstier than my other alocasias, but yeah, this is the Alocasia Dragon's Breath. I've grown it quite a bit from where it was last year. I think I got it last year, April, around my birthday, actually. Yeah. And I just think it's very pretty. I don't typically like these like long, long leaf plants, like these like pointy, oblong looking leaves. But there's something about the bluey silver coloration and the shape of this one in general why I think I like it. Um, yeah, and I think maybe just the angle in which it grows, like it's not ones that typically point upwards. I just really like the shape of these leaves. So I'm happy to have this in my collection. It looks like it's working on a new leaf up here, but yeah, we'll see how that is going. I'm just giving you a little bit of a closer look as to what that looks like. And I hope to see it grow a lot more this year because I think it's a very pretty alocasia. Honestly, I don't think there's any alocasia in my collection right now that I'm showing you today that I don't like. Anything that I have are just things I really enjoy. So I hope you enjoy this one too. Okay, so the next alocasia that I would like to share with you is the Alocasia micholitziana. So mine is looking like this right now. I feel like I have months where it is producing pretty good size leaves, and then other times I feel like I'm just not doing something right. They're starting to look a little bit smaller. I do think that mine might need a little bit of an up pot. You can kind of see part of it is sticking out of the soil here. But I think this alocasia is beautiful. It has this very striking, like green and is it almost like pretty much a green and white contrast. Very striking. I've seen mature plants of these that look just so beautiful, and that is sort of my goal with this one. I think after I do a little bit of a repot with this, and then I was also told that giving it natural sunlight as opposed to just mostly grow lights, um, that natural sunlight can give it a bit of a boost too to grow better. So, yeah, I think I want to try that out this summer. I know it's a little bit tricky for me to get or achieve that during the winter time. So, sunlight, fertilizer, a pot, and I think I might have a better, not necessarily better looking, but more leaves, more flush. That's my goal because I think this could be there. I think there's definitely opportunities for growth here. But I've had this for maybe 8 months. I can't even recall when I've acquired this. It had to have been summer of last year. I also have the variegated version, but right now it is just a single white leaf and it is very tiny. It kept progressing and then sort of having these nice green to white ratio, and then I would get an all white leaf and then it would just sort of dial it back, and then I would be left with something very tiny. But I am working on that one. I am trying something new and we'll see how it goes. If you do have any suggestions though on how to better grow one of these micholitzianas or the variegated frydek, let me know because I'm just experimenting and just guessing right now. But yeah, I love them. They're beautiful, very striking plants, especially when they get very mature. But that's what mine looks like right now. The next alocasia that I want to show you is my alocasia stingray. And this is what mine looks like today. It's interesting because I got this as a corm, mostly just to experiment with and so that I could actually see what the stingray looks like in person. And it's growing on me, or it has grown on me. I wouldn't say this is the typical alocasia that I would prefer growing because I like texture, striking colors, veination, silvers, things like that. But this is mostly just green. But it is just so cute. You can really see like the shape of the stingray. And it grows pretty well, pretty quickly too. Like, I understand why people might enjoy this plant. And yeah, I didn't expect it to grow so fast, so I had kept it in this little 2-inch pot, and now it is starting to climb out. And I'm also seeing some corms growing in there too. So yeah, if you're looking for a nice vigorous grower, I would definitely suggest a stingray. And yeah, it definitely has grown on me. I didn't intend to keep one. And I just think it just might be one of those alocasias that's just going to stick around with me because I think it's just so cute. I know it's just like a simple green. The shape got me. But yeah, I've had this since, oh man, when did I put this corm in? It could have been October of 2024. So not that long ago. And yeah, it's been growing pretty well. I'm excited to see where this goes from here because I've seen that they can get pretty large. So I'll keep you posted if I still have this around. So the next alocasia that I'll be showing you is one I got this past Christmas from a friend. She gifted it to me for Christmas, and it is the Alocasia cuprea. I have 3 of these plants. The very juvenile one I have refuses to grow for me, but this one she bought I wouldn't say it's very mature, but maybe like medium sized. And then the new leaf this plant put on is huge, huge. So here's my Alocasia cuprea, and I'm showing you the back side here because I want to show you what I originally got. It was about these size leaves, and it's 4 of them, and then it just grew that. It is gorgeous. I just love the size. And yeah, it did bloom, and I don't really know what is going on here. I might just chop this off because I don't know what this is doing. I don't understand alocasia blooms. If you know, let me know. Do you normally cut these off? And if you leave them on, when do you cut them off? I've been sort of letting them stay there until they dry out. I don't really know what to do with them. But yeah, this is my Alocasia cuprea. I don't think this is the red secret or anything like that. They all look the same anyways, from my understanding. Again, my understanding, it's just the difference in the color of the flowers. I think that's why it's called red secret, because when it blooms, it has more of a redder flower, and that's the red secret part of it. But outside of that, I believe that they're all the same. This one bloomed, and I think it was more of like a white flower. So maybe it's just a regular cuprea. I don't know the difference, but I'm speculating. But yeah, I tend to keep this one more on the moist side. I find that these don't like to fully dry out. No alocasias do, but this one is not as forgiving. These leaves are pretty thin as well, so I don't know if that's related to that. They're, yeah, very thin. I wouldn't say papery, but I just find that it's a bit tricky if you let it completely dry out, because then you get that edema and then you start losing leaves. At least in my experience, that's what I've noticed. And I'm not a big fan of semi-hydro, so I keep mine in a heavy mix of like perlite, vermiculite, a bit of potting soil with worm castings, but mostly the gritty stuff. So it's kind of like semi-hydro, but not. I just don't understand pon. I don't understand leca and keeping the pH balance in leca and stuff like that. So I'm finding success with this, and I'm going to try that with more of my alocasias, since I was able to size this up a lot. And yeah, I'm really happy with this. I'm hoping it holds these leaves, and I hope I can get more of these larger leaves. So we'll see in the coming months, because I'm hopeful for the summertime. So the second last alocasia that I want to share with you is my Alocasia azlanii. It is still pretty juvenile, but I still think that it's a very pretty looking alocasia. It still has the gorgeous pinks. I swear, in different lighting, like I feel like it keeps looking a little bit different to me. Sometimes it looks brown, sometimes it looks pretty green. Like, to me here it looks very green, but when I face it that way, like I guess into the camera where the light is facing this way, you can see how beautiful those pinks are. And yeah, I've heard that these can be pretty tricky to grow. I've just been letting these dry out a little bit more in between waterings. That was what I was recommended. And so far, I've been having success. I have another leaf coming in here, so I'm hopeful that it will maintain the size and that I can grow it a little bit more full during the summer or the coming months. But I think it's a very cute little alocasia. I very much like heavy greens on my plants, but I also really like pink, and if it's done well on a plant, then, I tend to gravitate towards them, and I really do enjoy this. I have also seen really striking pictures online with these plants and how they can look when they mature and, given the right lighting and such. So that is my goal for this one. Um, Again, I try to not let, fear defer me or like keep me astray from certain plants just because someone says something's difficult doesn't necessarily mean that it will be difficult for you. Maybe it's just your watering style or your preference on growing, maybe how you manage your plants, that maybe what's difficult for one person might not be difficult for you. And so far, I'm having success with this, and we'll just see how it goes from here. I'm not going to say it's easy yet. It is still a very juvenile plant, so I can't speak for, the length of time I've had it. It's only been a few months, but so far so good. The last alocasia that I would like to share with you is the Alocasia Regal Shield. So I honestly just got this, was it just last week? So this is the new plant that I haven't shown you guys yet. I did make a post on Instagram though, if you're curious to take a look at the post there. But I've always sort of had this plant on my list. It is a pretty green alocasia, like maybe not the most colorful or anything like that, but I just find the veining to be just so cool. How dark the leaf is, and then sort of some of that contrast. And the little, like, I don't know what you call them, like micro veins, sub veins. I don't know how well you can see them on top of the plant, but maybe underneath. I feel like my Instagram post sort of showed it a bit better. Maybe on the new leaf you can kind of see it. This one's just recently opening for me. But yeah, I'm really excited to have this and grow this. I know they can grow pretty large and they're pretty easy to care for. This one is currently sitting with me in my office on a windowsill, and I just think it's so pretty, so easy to care for. I had it about a week ago with this leaf starting to unfurl. No issue with, different environments so far. And I'm having a fun time growing it so far. So the texture too, it's like kind of leathery, but also like slightly like a rubber feel. I don't think this one is, as fussy, or what is the word? I feel like it's just a lot more forgiving of a plant. So I've heard. I think the biggest issue people have with this one, and I guess with a lot of other alocasias, is spider mite issues. I haven't had any issues with any of my alocasias in terms of spider mites, knock on wood though, because maybe it hasn't happened yet, but I haven't had issues. I think this one will do well. And so far it has been pretty easy to grow, but we'll see as the months go along how it continues to grow. So those are all of the alocasias that I wanted to highlight during this video. I have a few other alocasias. One is the Alocasia loco. It is also pretty juvenile and not really looking particularly striking right now, so I opted not to show that one. I also have the Alocasia, I think it's called Antoro Velvet. Beautiful alocasia with like very soft leaves, but I am restarting it from corm, and it had leaves at one point, and then I noticed that the corms started to rot and was becoming a bit mushy. So I had to kind of intervene, and I'm pretty much starting over again. So I didn't show that one either. And I have an Alocasia amazonica and Alocasia Nairobi night corms, very like young seedlings. I think I was initially very drawn to those plants like months ago, but I am not as much interested in those, and I think I might give those away when they sprout and grow a better set of leaves. I don't want to just give away corms personally, so that's why I didn't show those ones either. And I think the last one I had is an Alocasia mellow. It is very, very, very tiny. So I also opted not to show that one today either. But the ones I showed you today are my main group of alocasia, the ones that I love very much and enjoying them, or they're just not in a juvenile state. So they're doing a little bit more presentable for you guys. And yeah, I think the last thing I sort of wanted to talk about were variegated alocasias. I know that a lot of them exist. I don't have many in my collection. I only have the one um, Alocasia variegated Frydek. And I've been starting to get a little bit of interest in a lot of these pink alocasias, like the variegated pink black velvet or the variegated pink bambino. There was one other one. Oh, the pink chantrieri, I think it's called. They're very beautiful with this pink, but I feel like I might have the same issue that I have with a lot of these albo variegations where, I don't know, they become all white and then they don't grow well. And, with the white means lack of chlorophyll. They cannot photosynthesize as well, and it can be a bit more difficult to grow these alocasias. I've been hesitant. I'm curious if anyone has experience with them. If you guys also have any on your wish list that you particularly like, or yeah, I'm just curious to hear about it because I'm definitely interested in them, but I'm not sure if I want to take the plunge just yet because they are a bit more expensive. And yeah, I don't know. They're definitely sort of on my wish list though, but I'm just sort of like here and there. I see them for sale and I just keep debating if it's just worth it. But yeah, let me hear what your thoughts are on that. But ultimately, that is everything I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, or if you learned something new, feel free to hit that like button. If you have any questions, suggestions, anything you'd like to talk about at all, feel free to add that in the comment section below. And subscribe. My aim is to have something up every Tuesday, at least have a video up once a week. And yeah, I think that's everything I have. I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.